So you're thinking about making a move and Boise, Idaho is at the top of your list. We all know Boise has been a popular relocation spot for many years now, and how could it not be? Idaho is one of the most affordable states in the western part of the country, and if you compare Idaho's housing costs and overall cost of living to states like Washington, Oregon, and California, Idaho completely blows them out of the water. Idaho taxes aren't too bad either, especially when you compare them to other states. Idaho's taxes are much more reasonable, making Idaho a good option if you're looking to retire. The family-friendly atmosphere and all the outdoor beauty that Idaho has to offer has definitely contributed to its popularity over the years, but with all the growth Idaho has seen in the last 30 years, you might be asking yourself, is Boise, Idaho still a good place to live? In today's video, I'm gonna be going over some of the pros and cons of living in Boise, Idaho. I'm gonna be talking about housing affordability, general cost of living. I'm gonna be highlighting some different neighborhoods within Boise, Idaho, and then we're also gonna look at some fun activities that you should take part in. So if you are considering moving to Boise, Idaho, you are definitely gonna wanna stick around for this one. Hello and welcome back to my channel, The Realtor You Know, with me, Mike, your local realtor here in the Boise, Idaho area. On this channel, I highlight what it is like to live in Idaho in the hopes to help people determine whether or not Idaho might be a good fit for them. I put out new videos every single week, so if you or someone you know is considering moving to the area, definitely consider subscribing and clicking the bell for notifications so you guys don't miss out when new videos are uploaded. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this video and see, is Boise, Idaho still a good place to live? Boise is located in southwest Idaho, and it was founded in 1864. While French-Canadian fur traders were exploring the region known as Idaho, these fur trappers encountered the tree-lined Boise River. The sight of lush trees was a welcome one from these fur traders because they had been traveling through the dry and desolate Snake River Plain. The trappers then would refer to this area as Boise, which is a French word for wooded. Today, the city proudly carries the nickname City of Trees, which is a nod to its origins and to the natural beauty that has been a defining feature throughout its history. Boise saw expansive growth after its founding. That growth continued during the gold rush and after its designation as Idaho's state capital. Boise's most recent explosion in growth was back in 2022 through 2023, where Boise was ranked number 5 in fastest growing cities in the US. And for a small town in Idaho, with a population sitting around roughly 235,000 people, that's kind of a big deal. Now, Boise is the largest city in the state of Idaho, and the Treasure Valley is home to the 4 most populated cities of Idaho, which is going to be Boise, Meridian, Nampa, and Caldwell. But not all growth is good growth, and if you're a local, you've definitely seen some things change over the years. And so that's what I want to do now, is I want to get into some of the pros and cons of living in Boise, so that way you guys can determine if Boise is still a good place to live. Pro number 1 is going to be overall cost of living. If you compare Boise, Idaho to some of the other bigger cities like Portland, Seattle, or San Diego, Boise absolutely dominates in this category. For example, cost of living is 15% higher in Portland, it is nearly 41% higher in Seattle, and it is 39% higher in San Diego than it is in Boise, Idaho. And it's just simple. When you pay less for your day-to-day items, you're gonna have more money in your pocket at the end of the month. And I don't know about you guys, but if I can reduce my stress level around my financial situation, I feel like that's a huge win. And we felt that relief as soon as we moved back to Idaho from Vancouver, Washington in 2021. And it felt as if we got an instant raise because we were paying less for everything, whether that was our gas, to our groceries, or our utility bills, to even our car registration. Now, the first con I'm going to point out is because it's the one I hear the most from out-of-staters, but that is going to be Boise's weather. If you're from Idaho or you've lived here for a while, then you know what the weather's like and you're probably used to it. And let's face it, the high desert is not for everybody. We have hot, dry summers with temperatures that will get into the triple digits for a week or two at a time. In the winter, we do average about 20 inches worth of snow, and we have a consistent breeze that can make things pretty chilly that works its way through the valley most of the winter. We do see regular winter temperatures in between the mid to low 30s, so if you're not used to that, coming to Boise could be a shock for you. And I feel like I just accidentally made a really bad dad joke. Real quick, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for watching and subscribing. It really does mean a lot. You know, I was born and raised in Idaho, but moved away, and my family and I recently moved back just a few years ago, and it was by far the best decision that we could have made. And now I want to share what it is like to live in Idaho with you. So if you guys are on the fence or thinking about relocating to an area, hopefully my videos will give you some understanding of what it's like to live in Boise, Idaho and the surrounding areas. But if you or someone you know is looking to make the move to Idaho and you're looking for some more information, one, you could check out my free relocation guide in the description below. It's got a lot of great info on Idaho. The second thing you do is reach out to me directly. I would love to sit down and chat with you guys and find out what's bringing you to Idaho. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the video. The second pro we're going to take a look at is Boise's housing affordability. San Diego's housing is 106% higher than in Boise. Portland is 49% more expensive, and Seattle is 105% higher when it comes to their housing affordability. Not only is Boise's housing affordability much better, but the property taxes are drastically lower as well. The median home price in Boise is about $520,000. Now you could expect to pay roughly $3,000 a year in property taxes, which is slightly higher than the national average, but drastically lower when you compare it to Portland, Seattle, or San Diego. The second con I'd like to point out is going to be the median household income. Boise sits at just under $80,000, where Portland's at $85,000. Seattle is at a whopping $121,000, and San Diego was sitting right at $115,000. And I think a lot of Idahoans would agree with me that the wages here do not seem to be keeping up with the rising prices, especially with inflation and the high demand like we've seen for our housing. A lot of out-of-staters have come to realize just how affordable Boise is, and they're deciding to make the move. And they're bringing a lot of money with them. A lot of these out-of-staters, especially from California, look at our home prices and they can buy, in some cases, 2 or 3 homes here, where in California, they could only afford 1. So when they see what looks like high prices to us Idahoans, to Californians or people from Seattle and Portland, they see those home prices as very, very reasonable, which I do think has had some effect on our home prices and why they're so high. Not to mention, Boise's rental market is also very expensive. For investing purposes, Boise has a lot going for it. You have the airport for easy access in and out of the state. You also have Boise State along with other colleges, which really helps keep the demand for the rental market high. And because Boise's demand for housing and rentals is so high, that is what's keeping the prices elevated, probably elevated more than what most of us would like to see. And with the slow wage growth that we see, not only in Idaho, but across the country, it makes it extremely difficult, especially for first-time home buyers, to try to keep up with these rising prices. The city of Boise has a ton of variety when it comes to its neighborhoods, outdoor activities, restaurants, and entertainment. There are a ton of popular neighborhoods in Boise, be it Southeast Boise, North End, Boise Bench, you got Barber Valley, and you have the Central Rim, just to name a few. Boise neighborhoods have their own distinct charm and character, and when homes do come up for sale in these areas, they are very highly sought after. Boise also has a great food scene. There's plenty of restaurants downtown that you can walk to, like Bitter Creek Ale House, Barbacoa, Fork, and one of our favorites is Yoitomo Sushi. There's always something entertainment-wise going on in downtown Boise, whether that's catching an Idaho Steelhead hockey game, going to a comedy show, checking out the local art scene, or going to a Boise State Bronco football game. There's plenty to do. Now let's go ahead and talk about the third and final con, Boise's growing population. We know that Boise's population has been growing steadily for many years, and a lot of outsiders have found the hidden gem known as Idaho, and they've decided to make it home. With growth comes certain challenges like expanding roads, building more schools and homes in order to meet the demands of all the newcomers. Boise and the surrounding areas have struggled to keep up with the high influx of people coming into the state, and you can tell just with the increase of traffic that you see around the valley. We continue to see more and more companies and industries moving into the valley, which is only going to bring more people into the state, which is going to lead to us needing even more infrastructure. But I guess the question is, will Boise and the surrounding areas be able to keep up with the demand? Well, there you have it, guys, my top 3 pros and cons for Boise, Idaho. And I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are on whether or not Boise, Idaho is still a good place to live. And if you want to learn more about Boise, definitely check out some of my other videos where I go into more detail and explore other factors that might affect you relocating here. And if you got some value out of this video, or if you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing and clicking the bell for notifications. That definitely helps me out. And if you or someone you know is looking to make the move to Idaho, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to chat with you, find out why you guys want to move to Idaho, and we can have a conversation to see if it's going to be a good fit for you. I'll make sure I leave my contact information in the description below. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys in this video. I'll see you in the next one.